back to your comment about you don't think we're going to go back to in person. Can I ask you about that? Why do you think that is? Do you guys, obviously it's a benefit to you guys, but do you think there's anything lacking? Because I've talked to a lot of actors and it's like, I think the biggest thing we miss is that in-room feedback, right? Because I'll send in a tape and I'll not hear anything. Yeah. And even for that soap opera, it was like a page and a half, 2 pages. And I was like, did I do good? Did I do bad? Was I completely off pace? Like in a room, you can move me and adjust me, and then I can feel leaving.
That is the only negative, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think the positive is that when we could only bring in so many people per role, then it was scarier to take chances, you know. Now, so it's giving so many new people and new actors opportunities I don't think they realize. And then I think also that what the business had become by the end, the days of being in a room with the producer and director giving you notes was almost over. And often when actors would go in, they were just going into a room, reading into a camera with an assistant. Not that the assistant didn't give feedback, but you weren't getting the casting director half the time anyway.
Yeah.
But that is, to me, the only negative, because I think, and I guess maybe building the in-person camaraderie, you know, like I said, I miss an office so much. And my favorite part was having, was the interaction with the actors, because that was my favorite. That has always been my favorite part of the job, more than the business side, whatever, is just meeting the people. I'm just curious about, if I talk to an Uber driver, one of those irritating people that I'm just curious about. I have a terrible case of curiosity. So I do miss that, but I do think that that not getting the feedback is an issue, you know, and because then your audition generally becomes about just making a choice and hoping that you've made the right choice.
Yeah.
However, as a casting director, if we see something that we like in that, we'll have you go back on tape with notes. And so it ultimately isn't that different, I think, but I do think that is the only issue that is kind of not as good.
How often do you do that, though? Because I was talking to Michael Sanford, who's a commercial guy, a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, yeah, if we have notes and we have time, we'll send feedback and ask them.
Yeah, we do that. Oh, for sure.
You do that a fair amount? Or is it...
a fair amount, because we end up usually in that volume of auditions that we set up. And like I said, we set up so many people are like, I can't believe you're setting up 200 people for 2 lines, you know. But I do.
Yeah.
Much to the dismay of my people that work with me often. So what was the question?
Notes.
Yeah, notes.
You're sending out notes back.
Yeah, but I'd say that, you know, you end up having so many people that are good that it isn't on a regular basis. But yeah, occasionally we do that.
So that's never happened to me, I should assume I was on the right track with my audition.
Yeah, yes.
Would you send notes if they were completely far off, they would send notes?
Well,
would you send notes if they were, would you ever send like a, you guys nailed this, but you weren't right for it?
No, we do. No, there's not time.
Okay.
Unfortunately, to give there just isn't time in episodic television to give feedback or
positive feedback
or any feedback, because ultimately I guarantee, and I was an actor, then you'd say, well, why was I good? Well, blah, blah, blah. It opens up a conversation that is not only too time consuming, but impossible to have, because then you become an acting teacher, or, you know, it's just impossible. I think feedback is generally, and I've always felt this way, pretty silly. It's like you call and you'd get an assistant that would say, oh, they did great, we just want it in a different way. And usually that was the truth, because most actors, I believe, who are auditioning, who have done any amount of work, are good. It's just a question then of, are they incredible in this role? I don't personally see very many what I would say bad auditions. That's just me.
Yeah.
I think people are usually good, and then they either are not right or not as appropriate or as good as somebody else.
Yeah. You mentioned, like, going into the room, we would often see assistants. And you implied that then you're watching all the self
Yeah,
tapes. So the
yes.
casting directors at your guys' office are watching every.
Well, that was in the olden days, but yes, now in the olden days that was when people would go into offices. But yes, we watch every
The
single.
casting director does now, not the assistant.
No, the casting director. So that's even probably better too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what you were alluding
Yeah,
to.
yeah, because now before I would watch before I would watch the tapes that the assistants did. The assistants wouldn't weed out, and
I see.
to be perfectly honest, I didn't have that many times that I can remember ever not being in the room. But I do know many, many actors who said they would go in, it was just assistants. I mean, many actors.
Got it.
But if I wasn't in the room, I still would watch every tape.
Yeah, got it. So let me
The
ask you.
assistants weren't weeding out the people for me. They were just doing the job so that we
and
could do
adjusting.
something else.
Yeah, that makes sense.